Plastic surgery was once not so common, and only the elite of the elite could afford the expensive procedures. These days it's much more affordable, and many people are exploring the opportunities, for good and for bad. However, things don't always go smoothly, regardless of how expensive the job is. So join us as we count 10 of the worst botched plastic surgeries. Number 10. Renee Talley. Imagine having implants in your buttocks that you can quite literally flip around by moving them with your hands. That's exactly what Renee Talley, a former Las Vegas stripper, had to deal with after she refused to remove the implants, even with doctors telling her she had to remove them. Renee originally got the procedure done due to a midlife crisis, but things went downhill only 6 months after, as the silicone migrated up her back and down her legs, attaching to her organs and resulting in autoimmune disease. Doctors told her that the removal would result in deformities since they would also have to remove some of the tissue. Renee wanted to put in another implant to replace the space where the old implant was. Doctors told her to wait 6 months, but she didn't want to, and the rest is history. Number 9. Jackie Stallone. While she has a number of accolades under her belt, like being a psychic hotline entrepreneur and being canine clairvoyant, Jackie Stallone is undoubtedly most famous for her actor son, Sylvester Stallone. However, at this point it's safe to say plastic surgery is also one of her expertise areas, except it's not, because her face has literally been ruined. She's had absolutely everything done from her nose, face, eyebrows, cheeks, and who could forget about those lips. She's a great example to prove the saying that too much of anything can be a bad thing. Number 8. Rajee Narinesingh. Rajee was born in a man's body but felt that inside she was really a woman. She had lived as a woman for years before actually deciding to get some plastic surgery done to help her become more feminine in her appearance. She approached a black market surgeon named O'Neill Ron Morris, who specialized in low-cost butt injections. She paid at least $2,000 for treatments to enhance her buttocks, hips, thighs, and breasts. Little did Rajee know that this woman had no idea what she was doing. Rajee was injected with Fix-A-Flat and cement in her face, which ended up horribly disfiguring her to the point where she didn't want to leave her home. Thankfully, Rajee's face has been partially fixed because of Dr. John Martin, who has been softening her injections and giving her laser therapy, but the damage will never be completely undone. Number 7. Jordan James Parke. Technically, one might say this man did not get any botched plastic surgeries since he got exactly what he wished for, technically. But I'm going to include Mr. Jordan James Parke on here anyway because he decided to spend over £100,000 or close to $150,000 to look like his number one idol, Kim Kardashian. The 24-year-old has had 2 nose jobs, a chin implant, 50 lip filling operations, eyebrow tattoos, Botox injections in several areas, and laser hair removal, making him look nothing like he did before the operations. Number 6. Kristina Rei. Kristina Rei wanted to get lips that resembled those of Jessica Rabbit. However, it seems that nobody told her when to stop injecting into her lips. At this point, she's had over 100 separate injections done to her lips, which has won her the incredibly glamorous title of having the world's biggest lips. The worst part, she's not done yet. The nail technician has admitted that she has an addiction, but she plans to have her lips become even more outrageous. Each injection costs around $60 and causes extreme pain for Kristina, but she insists that nothing will stop her. I honestly have no comment, so let's move on. Number 5. Hang Mioku. Possibly the single worst case of a botched plastic surgery in the history of plastic surgery. Hang Mioku was a South Korean model, but she was never quite satisfied with her appearance, so she decided to go under the knife, like many others, to change a few things. And then she did it again, and again, and again, until eventually her face was enlarged, disfigured, and unrecognizable. At one point, doctors no longer wanted anything to do with her, so they refused to do any more procedures for her. Mioku then took things into her own hands by injecting cooking oil into her face, making things even worse. Eventually, she got some procedures to reverse the effects and her face was greatly reduced from its original size, but she's still scarred and disfigured for life. Mioku now regrets having had all the operations and wishes she could have her original face back again. Number 4. Dinora Rodriguez. When Dinora Rodriguez went under the knife for a routine breast enhancement operation, she ended up with something very different than what she had paid for. Her surgeon cut a cross in between the middle of her breasts, which allowed the implants to actually touch together and make what some have called a uni-boob. To make matters worse, this surgeon also cut through some of her muscle and nerve tissue, which caused some nasty pains in her ribs. Finally, to top things off, the surgeon decided to perform a procedure on her eyelids without her permission, which means Dinora is no longer able to fully close her eyelids. Unsurprisingly, she sued the plastic surgeon and received enough money from the settlement to undo these nasty procedures. Number 3. Pete Burns. Singer Pete Burns has had a number of operations over the years, and despite a number of them being horribly botched, he's admitted that he will never stop going under the knife in a bid to improve his features. One of his motivations for having constant operations is that he gets bored with his face. Pete claims that faces are like furniture and that they should be changed up every now and again. His first operation was a nose job back in the 1980s after the money started coming in from his band Dead or Alive, but apparently even that operation didn't go as planned and left him with a crooked nose, so he could no longer wear sunglasses. At some point you just have to give up and realize it's only going to get worse. But it seems Pete Burns disagrees with that statement. Number 2. Michaela Romanini. Once an attractive young woman, Michaela Romanini's face has changed drastically since she started having plastic surgery. And it hasn't changed for the better, I'm sorry to say. The main procedure she liked to do was to get collagen injections into her lips. This became addictive to her and she kept doing them until her lips no longer looked like lips. This, along with a healthy helping of Botox, has given her a face that barely resembles her previous one. Number 1. Donatella Versace. Undoubtedly the most famous person on this list, Donatella Versace has also undergone numerous augmentations of her appearance over the years and has led to her appearance today, which, to be completely frank, resembles a dried up prune more than anything else. In all seriousness though, having too much of anything is always a bad thing, and everyone on this list has proved that fact. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you liked this video or if you thought the video was botched like the surgeries on this list. See you next time.